I'm getting a little nervous. That's weird. Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Jason, and we are about to watch Blood Rage, 1987. One of my favorite films of all time. Hey, look, we're in 1974 right now. This film was shot in 1983, released in 1987. Ooh, there's The House That Cried Murder. That is a 1973 film known as The Bride and also known as The Last House on Massacre Street. That movie had 3 names. This movie has 5 names. Louis Lazar. All right. Do I need to introduce anything? This is the first commentary I've ever done for a movie that I did not direct or write. I guess this is what you would call a fan commentary. I don't know why I just said it like that. I love this movie. I have an old Prism VHS. I have a DVD. I have the Arrow Blu-ray. So, that's my qualifications. I'm a fan. Man, this movie was called Complex, Twins, Slasher, Nightmare at Shadow Woods, and Blood Rage. There's the great Ted Raimi from Michigan, one of my homies. Not that him and I are homies, but I am from Michigan, and I've always looked up to Sam and Ted Raimi. I don't think I've got to talk about who Ted Raimi is, do I? You know, Fake Shemp. He's in a bunch of, artsy stuff like Floundering and Twin Peaks. He's also in sleazy stuff like Skinner and Intruder and Blood Rage. Marianne Kanter is the star of this movie. Louis Lazar is the star of this movie, as you can see with your eyeballs. But in case I'm going to impart some knowledge on you that's not for your eyeballs, for your earballs, Marianne Kanter is the star of this movie. She's the producer. She also plays a role. She gets cut plumb in half. She found the script. She tailor-made the script. She found the director. She found everyone. She was an actor in the 60s. A lot of television. She was in Devil's Angels and Hallucination Generation, which I've never seen, but I am going to be looking for after I turn this microphone off. I just did a little bit of research before we started this, and that's how I found out about Hallucination Generation. And it sounds like that's right up my alley. She plays the doctor in this. Dr. Berman, I believe. Oh, God. Why'd I say that? Now I'm going to get nervous. She plays the doctor, and she's the producer, like stated. She's only produced 2 films, and I would do anything to work with her right now. I guess we can talk about that later. I do look up to her a lot. She produced this here film, Blood Rage. She also produced Dark August, which a couple people from this movie she brought along from Dark August. Couple cast, couple crew. Here we have 2 sets of twins. An actual real set of twins. Playing Terry and Todd, the little versions of them before we flash forward 10 years. Keith and Russell Hall, a real set of twins. Just to be abstract, I would have cast 2 sets of twins that looked kind of alike and picked one from column A and picked one from column B just to see if I could pull it off. Now, do you believe me, or is that me joshing around? Now, here comes one of the best kills of all time. Not even of Blood Rage. It's either I think it's the first. It's first meeting top tier. There are quite a few good kills, but look at this. Oh my goodness. That and that. Oh my goodness. Man, now if I'm going to really have to look at that. Ed French. Thank you. Not only thank you for that scene, but thanks for Sleepaway Camp. Ed French did the effects in this here movie. He's amazing. Also acts. So a lot of people, this is a little movie. This is an indie movie. And if you can't tell by how I just told you the special effects guy is acting and the producer is acting, you see that a lot in independent film. It's a family affair. We all got to get in there and do what it takes to take care of business. Now look at this. This brother, what a shitheel. Blaming his other brother. Now, a good lawyer could go back to the scene of the crime and interview all these pedestrians as possible witnesses and be like, I don't know, man, I think that other kid smeared blood on his face and like put a weapon in his hand. I don't know, it was a traumatic experience, so I don't really, my memory might be fuzzy, but it seemed like that other kid did it. All right, 10 years in the future, I believe. I'm a little bit ahead of the curve. Or did I miss it? No, 10 years later. Yeah, I just cut myself off during the axe to the face. I wonder if I should wait and like point things out exactly, because as an editor, I've realized numerous times over my 20 plus year career that things don't always sync up perfectly, different frame rates and whatnot. So I guess I'll just keep it loose instead of pinpointing. And there's Marianne Kanter. You know, producer of Dark August and Blood Rage. Actor from the 60s. What was that called? She's from Hallucination Generation. I honestly love her so much. And there is Woody Allen favorite Louise Lazar. She's been in a bunch of his films. I was just told like five or six. I only know 3. Take the Money and Run, Bananas, and Stardust Memories. But she was married to Woody Allen, and who knows? She probably. I mean, I'm not a know-it-all. I mean, I come across as one, but I'm sure she was in 5 or 6 Woody Allen movies. Famous TV actress. Couple episodes of Taxi. She was the lead in Mary Hartman. Boy, has she been in a bunch of great movies. Excuse me. Recently, she was in Girls, the television show. I guess that's not even recent anymore. That's like a decade years old. But she was in the first, speaking of Ted Raimi, Ted Raimi's brother, she was in Crime Wave, which was a Sam Raimi Coen Brothers joint from back in the day. And then went on to do Frankenhooker, and then 2 of my favorite films in film school were Requiem for a Dream and Happiness. Todd Solondz and Darren Aronofsky. I can't tell you how many times I saw those 2 films. Both of those films, oddly enough, I had on VHS and DVD. Those were right on the cusp of the change. As I was a Blockbuster employee. People think that's cool nowadays. That is not cool. I worked at numerous video stores, and the mom and pop ones were amazing, and the Blockbuster ones were bunk. And I was like why am I talking about myself? I was a company man. I worked at 3 different Blockbusters, transferring town to town and once from a state to state. And once I worked in a Blockbuster, I think it was Video Visions. Once I worked in a Blockbuster takeover. Ugh, that's so bad. So I was the enemy. Mark Soper plays both twins, older twins. That was real twins in the beginning. Mark Soper plays both Todd and Terry. And he does, I think, an amazing job. He does so many little cool things. Obviously, a bunch of different character choices to distinguish himself between good brother, bad brother. But cut cut into laughter. You gotta love when they do that in motion pictures. All right, so now we're seeing a bunch of the players. I kind of messed myself up mentally, so I started talking about Blockbuster during football. Maybe that's a sign about myself because I'm not a sports guy, so my brain just kind of spun off. Louise Lazar, boy, is she amazing. I did an Arrow video, YouTube video, an Arrow video Blu-ray, blah, blah. And I talked quite a bit about her, and I did something that was kind of unoriginal, and I'm embarrassed of it. So, of course, I'll talk about it here again. And that's that she's kind of doing a Jenna Rollins, a woman under the influence type deal, yo. And I say that's unoriginal because I think anytime a woman goes for it, like balls to the wall insanity in an artistic manner, I feel like people are like, oh, it's so like Jenna Rollins, so woman under the influence. It could just be a generation of people who love Cassavetes. It could just be that I hang out with a bunch of film nerds. We see two big red flags during this scene. That Terry is a sociopath. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Dig in, everybody. And then she reiterates, I mean, with the other stuff. There are so many cool things that he does, she does, everyone. I think the direction in this movie is great. Sometimes it's hard to tell if a director said to do something or the actor changed or pulled something out. Choices, artistic choices. It's hard to tell sometimes where they come from, but it doesn't matter. They land quite a few times in this movie. And that's one of them too, where she like says, "You guys dig in," but he just started cutting the turkey, so I can't tell if she like tripped on her lines or if she was supposed to say that. But she goes, "Oh, I mean the other stuff." And like when they're about to do their announcement, or did they already do it? We're getting married. They do it. They pause and they take a beat, and then they're both gonna say that. I think this already happened. They both say it at the same time. Like she chooses, "We're getting married," and he chooses, "We're tying the knot," but they say it at the same time. So like 1, 2, 3, they both go, but they both say something different. I love stuff like that in movies. I'm sure that was a choice. It'd have been much easier for them to say in unison so the audience could hear them better. But they chose the Altman way, the Robert Altman way. Like, no, 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 you guys talk at the same time and say two different things that mean the same. What was I saying? Two things that point to being a sociopath or a psychopath. I'm not smart enough to really know the difference of the two. They're both bad. One is he's macking on this girl right in front of his girlfriend, like big time. The second, the second is he just sold his mom out in about 2 seconds. Look at that look. Man, she's crazy. Isn't that so, Jenna Rollins? The look of intensity because her son just sold her out. Her son with her collar popped, that blow-dried hair, skinny tie, Huey Lewis in the News. What is this? Shot in '83. I love Arrow Video. And I thought about doing the commentary to. I have multiple versions of this movie. So I am choosing the brand new Arrow Video 2K restoration Blu-ray. Now, Arrow released a 3-disc with every version. I do not own that. I think it's sold out. I'm sure I could find it somewhere, but I have the standard Blood Rage Arrow. And the version that we're watching today that I'm talking over is the exact same as the Prism VHS release. I put them on at the same time. Took me a second or two to get them sunk up. And then I watched them. I just did this about 2 hours ago. It ended. I set up this microphone and now we're doing this. I wanted to see, because I was fixing to do the commentary to this is for free on YouTube, from a regular person upload, not from like YouTube movies. And I realized when I was setting everything up, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I don't even have to use like my own gear. I downloaded it, I pulled it, ripped it, whatever it's called, from YouTube, started watching it and realized it's a highly edited version. The naked girl doesn't run away from the axe in the face. In fact, you don't even see the axe in the face. So this halted my whole plan for the evening. I texted my producer at like 3:30 in the morning, singing the blues like a little bitch ass. And then I just realized, you know what? I don't need an actual file. I'm just going to watch it on the big screen, talking to the microphone, and I can get the file later, like for editing on the old computer, because we chose to make this. You might be listening to the first podcast I've ever made in my entire life, but we are doing a YouTube video at the same time. Oh man, I look like shit too. Alright, let's talk more about this here movie. What is this movie called? Complex? Slasher? Twins? Nightmare at Shadow Woods? Blood Rage. Marianne Kanter comes back. What's that guy? Brad, the manager, her fiance. He's played by William Fuller. And you want to know a little funny tidbit about him? He was in Porky's 2 and Porky's 3. 2 different characters, 2 different directors. I can't remember who directed 3. Bob Clark did 1 and 2. And the new guy for 3, I think it's called The Next Day. Porky's The Next Day? No, that's 2. I don't know. 2 and 3. The new guy came in for 3, and he must have liked his performance as a Klansman and pulled him back into the fold to play a whole new role. He's been in a good handful of movies. A bunch of these people have, he's been in like about 20 movies. A lot of these people have not been in a lot of movies. Uh-oh, I'm doing the thing that when people hate. I just started watching the movie for a second. I apologize for that. I also don't really know where to talk. I don't know if I should be eating this mic or not. Mark Soper, he's been in a handful of movies, not a lot. He's done this and Graveyard Shift 2 as far as horror film goes. He's been in 2 John Travolta films, Phenomenon and Swordfish. And he was in a movie that I didn't find out until I did a little research for this. That 1981, I believe it's a television movie, Kent State. I've never seen it. I kind of like true crime stuff. This would have been a fictionalized narrative version of that. But there is a movie, it's just called Kent State, released in 1981. Mark Soper is in it. Here's my second favorite kill of the movie. This was much different in that YouTube file I found too, so I'm so glad I noticed that. I would have been so bummed. Well, I guess I would have noticed it right away, right with the axe in the driveway. So it wouldn't have been that much of a waste of time. But this film looks amazing. Not only that Ed French right there. I love that the hand's moving there. I think I should have been moving on the last shot too. But Richard Brooks, Dick Brooks, was the DP. He also shot Dark August, so that lady right there brought him along. Who else was from Dark August? Oh, the girl at the not his the so we had four girls at the dinner table scene. We had his mom, his girlfriend, the girl he was macking on that just came into town, and then like the short-haired neighbor who brought him over. Her name is Jerry Lou. She plays Beth in this movie. She's only been in 2 films her entire life, and they were both Marianne Kanter joints. She was in The Dark August. And man, I think there was another link, but I don't know. It might come to me through time. So that's Douglas Weiser right there. He plays the assistant. And he's a producer nowadays. Plays Jackie, is that right? Have you ever heard of Ava's Possession? That's a current movie. That guy right there produced it. I could sure use him in my life nowadays. That's a cool effect. I love how he smokes this joint too. And now look, he keeps on smoking it. And he looks like he's smoked before. Not like when you see someone who doesn't know what they're doing in a movie. Okay, so Douglas Weiser is dead. I've never seen Ava's Possession, but I've seen the trailer and I was aware of it, and I had no idea that he produced it. He's also produced a couple other movies. He's done some writing. Midnight Crossing. Man, look at that. Midnight Crossing was something that he dipped all 3 into. Writer, producer, actor. Now that is just a good shot right there. I love the 70s look to everything. Late 70s, early 80s look to, just the apartment, colors. A lot of good shots in this. And a lot of people wait to die. I think that's what makes this movie get teased a little bit. Like a little bit right there where she freezes. Doug's murder we just watched where the blade went through his body. Waiting to die while you're just standing there. Looks kind of fake. That looks real as shit, though. No, that looks good. Man, that looks cool. I guess like a little bit of mechanic. You know, there was a version of this movie where, or there was a take in this movie. Take three. Let me try that again. There was they shot a version with the legs standing up, still walking, and I've never seen it. In fact, I've never seen any of the outtakes. I thought with three versions of a movie, one of those having additional scenes, full scenes. I've never seen them. I just looked for Blood Rage outtakes pool. It didn't matter what I searched. I could not find any of them. I only know about them because I've listened to the commentary and they were talking about it. Now we're switching back to the messy-haired oddball brother. I really like both performances. I'm going to have to check out Kent State. Right there, I don't know the geography of the house because her boyfriend, her fiance, is the manager of the apartment complex. And I don't know if that house or that room, his office, I guess it isn't in their house. So he might have walked like a building over. I like that he doesn't drink. He drinks tomato juice here. In that opening scene, everyone had wine, except for he had a big, tall glass of milk. Funny little artistic choices. Partying. That girl sure likes to party. She likes partying and tennis. And she's oversexed. And she doesn't get anything from him. The night's young though. I think she'll be able to score. Julie Gordon as Karen. I like her, and she's only been in a couple movies. She's been in 5 movies, and this was her second to last. She does something to my brain, and it confuses me. She looks like someone else, because when I look at her, I'm like, oh, she's from, like, oh, I've seen her in, and then I looked her up, and I'm like, oh, no, I've never seen any of these, so I must be confusing her. Like I said, in my brain, I must get my wires crossed, and she reminds me of someone else. She's super pretty. Maybe she just reminds me of, like, a couple of girls, some of the pretty girls I went to high school with a couple of years ahead of me. You know, my class was a little more grunge. Are you talking about grunge? Grunge. But, and she's a little more age. She's like my older sister and her friends. Actually, she might be one of my older sister's friends. In real life, I think I know that lady right there. Julie. The music in this is top-notch, amazing. Richard Einhorn. This is a rough patch for old Julie. Karen, our character. All this dialogue. And until right there, he didn't say a damn word. She had to just, all this exposition. I guess not even really exposition, just all these words. You really ought to try it sometime. A lot of cool placement of music stings, like total 80s horror film, electronic sprinkle splashes, but also just throughout the whole picture. Richard Einhorn. I just was talking about him and cut myself off. He did The Prowler and Shockwaves, Eyes of a Stranger, that old, early Jennifer Jason Leigh film, 1981. Now these two, these two are Artie and Greg, and I always confuse them. One of them gets lucky. But to me, they made them look too much alike. I mean, hey, let's both be the same size white guys with the same haircuts that are both brunette, brown, and let's put them both in blue clothes. This is my only complaint of the entire movie. You think I'm being facetious because sometimes I'm a little bit of a smart aleck, but I'm dead ass serious. It's my only complaint of the whole movie is that those two guys look too much alike. Chad Montgomery is Greg. He's a professional poker player nowadays. And James Farrell, or Farrell, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is Artie. He was in The Sopranos. He had a small role in one episode of The Sopranos, but not much of note for there. There we have Jane Benson. She is top notch. The horned up mom. And that's Ed French. And I think he deserves an award. He said he decided to stop acting from watching this performance, which is crazy. It shows you just how different we are as humans. We're all different. We all see this exact same thing and get two different takeaways. He is fucking kills this role. Everything. The way he just spelled that. The way he goes through all the booze. Every little weird tick he does. Such a square. He plays such a good, nerdy square. I don't know if I've ever said the word square before. Maybe it's that guy's skinny tie. Had me thinking about Huey Lewis. But yeah, that dude is exactly in the 80s. He would have been a square, huh? It's coming through my pores. Their lingo, osmosis. I'm trying to think of how I should rate movies. 4 stars, like Joe Bob. 10 stars, like IMDb. I don't know. 2 thumbs, like those one guys. Siskel and Ebert. I'm not a moron. I just think it's funnier to actually edit that out. Like the 2 thumbs, like those one guys. So that's funny. The mom and the babysitter are the 2 horned up girls in this movie. I wonder if they rubbed off on each other. Or maybe because they're just horned up in general that they gravitate toward each other. Kindred spirits. Man, drinking wine and vacuuming. Kind of vacuuming. Did we miss her pouring the wine while she's dialing the phone? And notice the levels of wine. Never what an acceptable person would put them on. Always to where I would put them. Guzzle that. if I was going to do like a 10 star, I would give this about 8. And I'm wondering if it should be like 9. I mean, I see some faults in it, like standing and waiting to die, and making two characters look like each other. But I find very little faults. I know it's not a perfect 10, but this movie is so entertaining. It is so fun. My favorite category of films isn't horror, it's sleaze. Which is funny because, I don't need to share too much about myself, but as an asexual, you would think that I hate sex scenes in movies. I absolutely despise them. But one of my favorite things, and this is things I've covered on my YouTube channel, one of my favorite things in movies is nudity. And, but not during humping. I despise sex scenes, but I love nudity. And why was they saying this? Oh, because sleazy is my favorite. It's always been. And maybe it's just from being imprinted as a kid. Like, Ryan Reppert and I, we watched Bloody Birthday. Well, we watched a shitload of horror films. But if I go back farther, even farther than Pee-wee's Big Adventure, because that's the movie I've seen the most in my life. And Paul Reubens just died. R.I.P. He died like a month ago. And I'm not bringing him up like everyone else in the whole fucking world is right now. God, I hate when someone dies and everyone turns into a fan. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure is probably the movie. Either that or the Pantera Vulgar Video. Those are the two movies I've seen the most. And I lost my train of thought. Paul Reubens, Pantera, seeing movies a bunch of times. Oh, even before Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Bloody Birthday. You know, I've seen Bloody Birthday so many times, you wouldn't even believe me. You'd think I was a crazy, obsessive-compulsive freak. But, I don't know, somewhere like in the 20s, and I'm much higher than that now, I realized this is the movie that's impacted me the most. I love Bloody Birthday. I love slasher, I love voyeurism, I love boobies, and I love blood. I guess it's not that weird, the whole asexual thing, because I love slash and gore, and I certainly don't do that in my real life. So I love boobs, even if I don't have them in my real life. And believe me, I've got so many friggin' options. Not to brag, but it's my own choice. Another thing that I love about nudity is I just love it when an actress is fearless. And that's one of the easiest ways to, almost like a cheat code, shortcut. That's one of the easiest ways to show that you're fearless, or at least to appear fearless, is nudity. Man, have you seen No Hard Feelings just came out on home video? Jennifer Lawrence does that fist fight naked, butt naked, no body double. That is truly being 100% fearless. And while I'm on the topic, I wish Julie Gordon would have got somewhat naked. Like something. Because one of my pet peeves in a film is you see everyone naked except for the like lead female. That's so like, I don't think regular people might not even pick up on it, but filmmakers pick up on it. I'm like, oh, of course, she's not going to get naked. She can't. She's the lead. hopefully people will learn from Jennifer Lawrence and she'll be like, oh no, I'm going to bust out my booty or break these titties out. You know, why wouldn't you rather be a part of the group rather than a standout? Ed French, I mentioned Thank You for Sleepaway Camp because that's one of his first films, and everyone who watches Sleepaway Camp mentions, like, damn, those deaths were good. And that was Ed French. Nightmare, his first film ever that he worked on was Nightmare, which was a Tom Savini joint. So he learned from one of the best. He branched off, turned into his own thing. Nowadays, he works on like Star Trek and huge, big budget. The new Westworld. That's like he's mainstream. He's worked on almost 100 films. You hear that sting? That music sting from Richard Einhorn? Ed French, I love his acting. I already mentioned that. Let's see, he did Chud and The Stuff. Mutant Hunt. Man, should I start going on an anti-vinegar syndrome rant right now? I'm trying to buy a new T-shirt and a handful of DVD Blu-rays. I mean, all my points in Vinegar Syndrome are gone. Vinegar Syndrome is the top of the line. I love Vinegar Syndrome. I have 2 Vinegar Syndrome tattoos, and for the last almost 20 years, Criterion Collection was the top of the pile, number 1. Vinegar Syndrome just choke slammed them out of the number 1 spot. And I just made a video on YouTube about this earlier. Speaking of choke slam, Arrow Video just swept the leg. That's the hierarchy right now for me, is Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, Criterion. Now that's a good decapitated head. That's pretty cool that Ed French gets to make his own decapitated head. But he worked on Mutant Hunt, and Mutant Hunt is in my shopping cart. That is just a weird coincidence. Before I shot this, I went down, I did a little bit of research. I'm kind of just a shit-talking, freestyling dum-dum, but in order to do that, I gotta look some stuff up, and then then you freestyle from there. I realized he did Mutant Hunt. So he did that big old extended arm. Oh man, I got so much dumb information in my head, and I got some chicken scratch in front of me, and I'm going to forget so much. We're already half done. So there's 3 versions of this, which isn't a 3-disc Arrow version. I don't own it, like I said, but I'm going to look for it. 2 babies played the baby. I do not know their names, but I know that 2 babies, as you do in the film industry, 2 babies are playing one. That opening act scene, I'm telling you, I think that's one of the best kills. I cut myself off during the opening scene. Now I'm going back 35 minutes in my head. I was saying that I think it's one of my favorites of all time. It's the favorite of the movie. I like that doctor getting his beer can hand chopped off too, but you can't. That looks so painful and so real. It's crazy. It'll make me wince. And these kind of movies don't scare me. They titilize me. They entertain me, but they don't really scare me. I can't think of a movie that scared me in a long time. Christmas on Mars by Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips. He directed a movie, And it could have been because I was smoking pot, but my heart started beating differently, and I had to turn it off. It was just creeping me out. And there's a couple episodes of Twin Peaks that'll do that to me too, where I just get into my head, and I don't really chief down anymore. But I've been stoned watching Twin Peaks, and that it just creeps in your head and just freaks you out. And literally, I'll have a physiological response. My heart will start beating differently, and I have to turn it off. But this doesn't freak me out. This makes me smile, and not like a psychopath. It's very entertaining. But that axe makes me wince. It's one of the best I've ever seen of all time. If I was doing a top 10, I mean, I can barely think of, off the top of my head, the only thing I can even think right now better than it, and I'm sure there's examples, but are Exploding Heads. I mean, the only thing I can put above that is, Scanners, Maniac, Chopping Mall. For some reason, I've had 3 exploding heads popping into my unexploded head. I bought this microphone just for this. Is that cool? Is that noteworthy? Should I say that out loud? Holy shit, I forgot I was recording this. On video. I forgot that there was a webcam turned on. I do not look cool, and well, who cares? We're doing an audio podcast. My first podcast ever. Hey, everyone, you've been complaining for a decade. And I'm sure the people that all wanted one, and I'm not saying there's a lot, probably between like 12 and 15 people, said, oh, Jason talks a bunch and he's a know-it-all. You should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. Well, all you people, you got your wish. But now I'm in my head that I'm on camera. That doesn't seem too cool. All right, what should we talk about? This was filmed in Jacksonville, Florida. The entire film, Joe Bob teased them that you can't even tell. This could have been filmed anywhere, and he's right. My first feature, 16 millimeter, shot it down south. And the last time I watched it a couple years ago, that was my takeaway, is that, dude, I could have filmed this anywhere. Why didn't I, there we have a good fake out. You see that in quite a few horror films. Someone make a list. How many horror films does someone do a, within the movie, practical effect prank? But one good thing about that is that she's going to have to wash that makeup off. You don't know what I'm saying? She's like a little pig-nosed mutant. This movie got a lawsuit in our favor, if we're on the team of Blood Rage. Lawsuit in our favor, because they released, they started putting out DVDs without permission. Oh, I don't know the name of the 2 home video companies that kind of got in trouble, but Amazon and Netflix were part of the 2 mega conglomerates that got in trouble. So they just took them down, and I don't know if there was a fine, probably a fine, but kind of just like no harm, no foul. So that's pretty cool that this little David got to go against the 2 huge Goliaths. Andrea, Lisa Randall. She's been in 1 movie her whole life. We're watching it. That's her. I like her. And I love it. Rack focus from a naked girl to a psychopath. You can't get much better than that. I don't know where her shower curtain is. I love these things with Luis Lazar. My brother, who has been in well, there was a point where he'd been in all my films. He did God, what was it? The documentary. There's a feature-length documentary you could watch on YouTube. It's called The Battle of the Broken Spoons. In that documentary, my brother's commenting on being directed in one of my movies, and he says that he hates, and side note, I love, doing telephone acting in a movie where you're not talking to anyone. I love it times two because I liked my brother doing it and I love doing it in real life. I'd like to act in a whole movie where all I'm doing is talking on the phone the whole time to no one. All right, man, this girl likes tennis and babysitting and partying and sex. Her major at college is partying. Did we already miss where they're all in the group and then they go to party? And she goes, I want to do some serious partying. That's like the most 80s thing in this whole movie. Saying you want to do some serious partying. I'm a drug addict and alcoholic. And I've been in recovery for, I don't even know, double digits. I'm past 10. Technically, I'm at like 4. But we don't need to get into that. I did an experiment on 7 years and 17 days I drank. And then if I wouldn't have done that stupid ass thing, I would be at like 11 or 12 right now. So I guess technically I'm at like 5. Doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is that I certainly respect drug and alcohol abuse in movies. I had a tattoo artist once that wouldn't watch The Big Lebowski because she was an addict, and it's trigger, I guess, is the stupid ass word people use. It tempted her, it triggered her, and I told her, I said, "Hey, man, that's a pretty damn good movie. You should watch it." I guess not if you're gonna relapse. Speaking of the Coen brothers, oh my goodness, look at that segue, unplanned. Michael Miller is the editor of this here movie, and he worked with the Coen brothers a couple times. He did Raising Arizona and Miller's Crossing. So I bet you he's pretty cool. Just based off of that. But no, I say that I bet you he's pretty cool because he cut Orgasmo back when Matt and Trey had no money. I forget. I think South Park had started, so maybe he's a piece of shit. No, maybe he's not. I'm kidding, Mr. Miller. He cut one of my favorite movies. I was trying to say that he like helped out independent filmmakers when they had nothing, but then as soon as I said it out loud, I realized that would have been more like Cannibal the Musical for Trey Parker. Maybe Orgasmo had some machismo from that South Park clout. Anyways, he cut Ghost World, the Terry Zwigoff film, which is one of the best movies of all time. And look at that. I wonder if they got that, what is it, a merkin? I wonder if they got the little cloth in between them. They're bushes. You know they both have bushes. You know they're touching. Even with that little thing. Oh, that's the invisible fishing line trick, where you get to see the cut happen in real time. Where they make the little wound. It's pretty cool. I'd like to try that. Never done that in my career. I'm putting together a horror film right now, but I have a mountain of problems and a bunch of stuff fighting against me. I'm trying to produce my 4th feature-length film. I need Marianne Kanter, and I need Douglas Weiser. I'm putting that out into the universe. I'm sure they won't hear this, but one of their friends will hear it. They'll say, you should listen to this dumbass talk about stuff that has nothing to do with Blood Rage. Okay, so let's get back to this. This is a Thanksgiving movie. I haven't mentioned that yet. This was on Joe Bob. It's not on Shudder right now, and I just watched. What I did was, I'm working on a video. I guess this would be a lot cooler if it was out. I'm editing it right now, so it's about to be out. I made a video called Build Your Own Joe Bob, because they have a tab at Shudder called Just Joe Bob, and then you can watch it. You know, if you happen to, let's do Blood Rage right now. You put in Blood Rage, he does his introduction, and then it cuts to black, and it says, you know, next break at 37:10. And so then you pause it and you watch your movie, and you got to kind of keep your eye on the time code. You know, pop display every once in a while just to see where you're at. Don't watch it with display on. I'm not asking you to be a psychopath. But just every once in a while, hit display, see where you are. Then you pause it, you go back to Shuddered, just Joe Bob, and then you watch the next one, and it'll tell you that there were pauses. So I built my own Joe Bob last night. I watched this movie, sorry for that lip smack, I watched this movie twice in the last 2 days. That was my, let's see, what's my bibliography? My bibliography is Joe Bob Briggs at The Last Drive-In, Arrow Video playing at the same time as the Prism VHS. It took me a couple seconds to sync them up. I already said that. And then I watched that on 2 different screens. I had them perfectly sunk too. And so I turned up both the volumes, and I had it in my studio coming from two audio sources. Then I watched Dead Meat, The Kill Count. And so that, and all the commentary and the special features. That's all Arrow. I consumed the entire Arrow video. And then watched James A. Janice. We're from the same place in Michigan. And we live kind of by Ted Raimi. We all party. And then the other one. What did I just say? Oh, Dead Meat, Joe Bob, Arrow Video. Now this is where she should have busted the titty out. That is not cool for me to say nowadays, with everyone's a social justice warrior. But now would have been her time to shine. Just to break a little something out. If you're listening to my voice, I hope I didn't plant a seed that you're going to notice all the time in old sleazy movies where there's like 5 girls and 4 of them show skin and not the lead. If you're an actress and you're fighting the urge, do you be fearless or not be fearless? Do what you like. I'm not going to tell you what to do. See right there, she's buttoning up. She should have had 1 boob out. No, as a film producer and a director and a dad of girls, no one should be forced into anything. But it'd sure be a hell of a lot cooler if you did. If it's, depending on the movie, depending on the part. I'm talking from a sleaze point of view. I'm not talking about Ghost World. Speaking of Ghost World, Michael Miller, the editor, he directed part of the drive-in scene. He directed the interior, the Ted Raimi. He directed that scene. This film had 3 directors, kind of. I mean, John Grissmer is the director, and he deserves a lot of credit. I think he did an amazing job. He's only directed 2 movies, and both are on Arrow Video. Isn't that funny? Isn't that ironic? He directed Scalpel, and he directed Blood Rage, and they're both on Arrow Video. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. John Grissmer, I don't even think I've said his name yet, huh? Isn't that weird? How do I not talk about the director, plus one that I love? Let's jump into him a second. But what I was saying was that 3 different people directed this movie at times. You know, like he directed 95% of it, but the cameraman had to step in and direct a little bit, and the editor had to step in and direct a little bit. He even left the picture, and Marianne got him back, thankfully. Because, believe me, I understand being a hothead. I understand clashing. I understand breaking down, melting down. But I also understand bouncing back. God, could you imagine if just leaving a movie for real? Let's see. Richard Brooks, Dick, the DP, he directed a scene. He also shot Dark August. Okay, so Dark August, Blood Rage, Scalpel. All 3 of those are Arrow Video. Isn't that cool? Scalpel is John Grissmer's first film that he ever directed. Dark August is producer Marianne Kanter's first film. Okay, John Grissmer. You know that first film that they were showing, The House That Cried Murder, a.k.a. Last House on Massacre Street, a.k.a. The Bride? It's called The Bride. Nowadays, it's called The Bride. I know the marquee said The Last House. Excuse me. The House That Cried Murder. But nowadays, if you're interested, if you're going to give it an old look-see, it's called The Bride nowadays. It is the movie that's also playing on the television. We've already passed it. But that movie has 2 cameos. It's on the big screen. It's on the small screen. Which really, I don't know about that, Miss Marianne Kanter in 1983. Do we really have the same movie playing at home and on the drive-in? I'm just kidding. No one would ever know that. No one would ever know that unless you're a dumb shit know-it-all and you look it up. But, now, it'd be a little different if it was like something everyone noticed. Like it's like Willy Wonka on the big screen, and then you get home and it's Willy Wonka on the small screen. Anyways, moving right along. That's a dumb topic. That movie, The Bride, that we're talking about, The House That Cried Murder, was written and produced by John Grissmer. Look at that shadow. That is a frickin' shadow. He did not direct it, but that movie that has 2 cameos in this movie was written by John Grissmer and produced. So that's pretty much how they had the rights to that. Oh, is that Dana Drescher? Is that Dana Drescher, you may ask? And Tinker the cat? That little girl is Dana Drescher, and she's only been in 1 movie. We just watched it. And I love Tinker the cat. Very cool name. I wanted to find out what would be a weird thing for me to talk about. And so I looked up that kid. Actually, I started by seeing if the end credits or IMDb had, you know how sometimes they list the pets. I wanted to see if Tinker got billing. Tinker does not. Do we think Tinker is a boy or a girl? I'm going to say, because it sounds like Tinker Bell, that it is a female cat. But, you know, you guys can all, I know this is a topic, I know this is a thing, you guys can just, everyone gets their own pick. I'm picking that she's a girl. Look at my notes. I wrote, when they find the bag of tools on the bridge. Ooh, look at that. That is a money-ass shot. And look at her just frozen again. If there was no people freezing, I don't know. I think I like the freezing because it adds to like the kind of schlocky old 80s. Nowadays, they would never do that. There's too much realism. Like, you'd have to, as soon as she saw that, she'd have to be kicking, screaming, scratching. Hey, look, there's a bra in the light. I never noticed that. I've probably seen this movie 8 or 9 times. I've never noticed that bra. Brassiere. Okay, so right by the University of North Florida, this was filmed in Jacksonville, Florida. This was filmed in West Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, I got a little tidbit for you. That opening drive-in scene, which is the Route 35 drive-in in New Jersey. It's in Hazleton, New Jersey. And that's, if you're like a Joe Bob, if you're like a drive-in aficionado, most people know that that is the Route 35 drive-in from New Jersey. However, they also shot it at the Midway drive-in in Jacksonville. So, and I guess that would be the part that Michael Miller directed? The interiors? I don't know. Some people don't know that. Some people do know that. They do a video of this really nice, cool, smart. I guess if I can't remember your name, you get 3 adjectives. This really nice, cool, smart guy does a walkthrough of all the locations on the Arrow video. And that's how I found that tidbit out. Oh, let's see. This is so cool when his head splits open. I don't think this was in the version I saw as a child. I think I would have remembered it because when I just got this movie, this recently, the Arrow, I believe that's the first time I saw that. I'm still a little, watch this. The dude's coconut opens right up. Ah! Man, that's cool. That looks good, too. Good job, Mr. French. Okay, there is a radio show going on. When in that office we just saw, he's always listening to a radio show called The Lord Never Sleeps, which is pretty cool. And every time he's in there, it's kind of on the nose, but not too much on the nose. I love this bounce. This is just another weirdo little thing that Mark Soper does. I should have pointed them all out, but he does. You collect your own little favorite things, okay? And then send them to me via smoke signal. But I'm not gonna. I like hiding that baby. I love a bunch of little choices he makes. So you watch his performance. You collect your little choices, favorites, and I will look at that. You gotta love a good body stack. I just watched, speaking of Joe Bob again, for the 40-year anniversary of Sleepaway Camp, and the big jamboree was just last weekend. Today's Monday, so like it literally just ended yesterday. I didn't go in Las Vegas. I'm a mentally ill person, and we can get into that later, but I can't travel, and it sucks. They were right next door, and I couldn't get there. So I watched all the Sleepaway Camps, and boy, does Sleepaway Camp 2 have a good body stack. Do you think he really pees here, or do you think that he's just playing mind games? I mean, I know Mark Soper didn't pee, but do you think Terry peed? Or do you think that was just information gathering? If I was him, the bad guy, taking that pause and just listening could be a nice little part to get information. I think that's what he was doing. That's what I'm choosing, that he was just using that as a little spot to not pee, to fake pee. Man, I haven't seen Happiness in a long time. This movie the research from this movie made me want to watch a lot of movies. The number one being Nightmare. I've never seen it. I think it's 81. Don't quote me on that. But I did watch the trailer for it in prep for this. And I was like, how have I never seen this? But there's a whole list of stuff I want to see. Here we go into doubles. Obviously, one is real and the other one is his stunt double. I'm having a pause because I'm thinking. The guy who does the radio announcement, I wonder if that means the opening of the movie, there's two announcements to say, intermission is done in 2 minutes. Intermission is done in 1 minute. Get back to your cars. Or if they meant radio announcer for the church one, The Lord Never Sleeps, that show. That is one of our actors. Man, I wonder if I should check the internet while I'm talking to you. I said I was not going to, and now it appears that I'm going to. Is that stupid? I guess I listen to podcasts where the people check the internet. I don't know, I feel like I shouldn't. I'm also kind of on camera. But what I wanted to mention was that Douglas Weiser, he plays Jackie, he's the film producer. He's credited as radio announcer as well. So I wonder if he was doing the church stuff or just the opening announcements in the drive-in. But that's another notch toward small family film. You gotta love that. Doubling up, multiple jobs. What was I saying? I do want to rewatch Happiness, and I want to see Kent State, and I want to watch Scalpel, and I want to watch The Bride. Bruce Rubin wrote this as per Kanter's directions. He was a hired gun. She told him, I want this, that, and the other thing. And then he made it so. You remember Zapped? He wrote Zapped. And he wrote Zapped Again. the sequel. I've never seen it, but I do like that they just added again to the name. When I clear my throat, do I cut those out? I've never done a commentary, so I've never edited a commentary. I did do a commentary to my first feature, which is on a physical DVD you can buy. And I did do one for a failed Adult Swim pilot, which is on YouTube. The commentary actually is. And they were not done with a microphone. They were not done professionally. They were done really ghetto. And there was no editing. One take. Which is exactly how I want this too. Poor Todd. He gets the short end of the stick. Alright guys, I don't know if this was a good commentary. I've got some information, but I've also got problems. I wonder if they cancel each other out. Who knows? As far as I know, you never know when you put anything out into the world. As far as I know, people could be like, no, the information, that's just stuff. Who cares? That's dumb. But like your problems, quote unquote, that's the fun stuff. That's the good stuff. So we'll see. I was getting ready to do a commentary and it fell through the roof. And I went out and bought this microphone. Then I went to go do... I like that too. I like that a lot, actually. I like that there's like a distinct line of red. Splatter, yes. But a distinct... I just like the distinct line, and I like that the gun breaks it. And freeze frame? Now that is an entertaining movie. I'm gonna give it an 8. If I'm doing a 10 scale, I'm giving it an 8. If I'm doing a 5 scale, I'm giving it a 4. If I'm doing a 2 scale, I don't even know. I guess I'd give it 2 thumbs up. All right, now we got a couple minutes of score and credits. Is there anything that I forgot? This film had the worst distribution ever, not to mention different name changes and between 83 and 87, and those all are problems. The director went to see this in the film. He said there was no one sheet and no poster. And that also means that I'm going to add this. That also means no lobby cards. This is 1987. So no poster, no one sheet, no lobby cards, no nothing. I would imagine it didn't have syndicated spots or radio spots or nothing. I'm sure glad that Arrow. Boutique labels are the best thing on earth. Only my kids I can think of are better than these niche boutique labels. They're better than everything. They're better than cocaine. They're better than sex. They bring me so much joy, and I love Arrow Video. I hope I don't get in trouble for doing this YouTube-wise, because as everyone knows, nowadays just content. Oh my God, we just need more income streams of content. So this is going to be a podcast, although I don't have the platform picked out. I don't know anything about it. I was doing a commentary to Bam Margera's Haggard. And I was also doing the commentary to Nightmare Weekend. One of my favorite. I bought this microphone and started this project because I was going to, this is a true story, I was going to go through all of Vinegar Syndrome's collection and do a commentary for everyone that there wasn't. I can't believe that someone would release a film without a commentary. That is fucking insane. And I can't believe that the top of the food chain, Vinegar Syndrome, would ever do that. That is such a drop in the ball. That goes to show you that not everyone's perfect. We just have to accept each other the way we are. But in order to kind of get their back, I bought Nightmare Weekend and The Bees, because those are two Vinegar Syndromes without. And I bought this microphone. That was the start of this project. And which is funny, because now we're not even, we'll get to those eventually, but anyways, my name's Jason Heath. I am a writer, director, and artist, painter, musician, a bunch of crap. And who cares, really? But this is my new project where I'm going to do a podcast. And like I just mentioned, we're going to crack this off into two things. So this is also going to be a YouTube video, I guess. God, I have no glasses on. I'm wearing like long underwear, like I'm Charlie in the Chocolate Factory's grandpa. And because it's cold up here at 7,000 feet elevation. And I forgot this was even going. I'm looking in a whole complete different direction. Anyways, thank you for listening. This is definitely experimental. I don't know how my rhythms should be. I don't know if I should look down at notes. I don't know if I should even have notes. I don't know what I'm doing. And this is the pilot maiden voyage. So if you liked this, I guess listen to the next one. I don't know what it's going to be. Might be Nightmare Weekend. It might be Haggard. I really like sleazy exploitation films and like art house. So I kind of wanted to flip-flop. But tell you what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have any rules. So who knows what it's going to be. All right, thanks for listening. There's only one last thing to say. I've never kissed a girl before. Oh yeah? Well, you really ought to try it out sometime. I gotta go. Bye.